What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing, back at you again. Today's topic, Deontay Wilder choosing to fight Tyson Fury in their first fight was a classic case of cherry picking gone wrong. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life for riches, huh? That life for riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glazzy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fan, let's talk about some boxing today. We're going to talk about the Deontay Wilder situation again. As you all know, I made a few videos about Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury, and we went in on the topic. But today we're going to talk about a specific aspect of that whole Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury situation, and that aspect is the whole thing about Deontay Wilder resurrecting Tyson Fury's career, and that he, out of the goodness of his heart, as a good Christian man, he went and picked up Tyson Fury off the couch and gave him a shot because that's the kind of guy he is. He goes around picking up guys off the couch and giving them a shot. So he gave Tyson Fury a shot, and now Tyson Fury reneged on their deal, and is going to fight Joshua for $100 million when he should really give Deontay Wilder the trilogy fight. Okay, this is the the narrative that's out there. Where they're talking about how Deontay Wilder did Tyson Fury such a big favor by fighting him the first time, and by picking him off the couch when he was 400 pounds, and on drugs, alcohol, and had an eating disorder, okay, and was basically had mental health issues. And because Deontay Wilder fought him during that period of his life, then now he owes now Tyson Fury owes Deontay Wilder to get an immediate rematch in their the so-called trilogy fight. Okay, so this is a narrative that a lot of guys out there pushing, and and there's nobody pushing it harder than the LDBC, and especially Blue Blood Sport. He's really pushing that narrative to the max. Okay, so we're gonna examine that, okay, and see what is that all really about. This whole idea that Tyson Fury owes Deontay Wilder a shot because Deontay Wilder did him a favor, because when he wasn't relevant, nobody wanted to see him. He wasn't relevant. He was just sitting on the sidelines on the couch weighing 400 pounds, and Deontay Wilder came to his rescue. Okay, this is the narrative that these guys are out there pushing. And the funny thing about that narrative is this: it just basically proves my point. All it really does is prove the point that there was a cherry picking. And these guys don't really seem to understand that. By pushing that narrative, they're really making the point that Tyson Fury, was cherry picked by Deontay Wilder. And this is basically a case of, a classic case of cherry picking going wrong, as we are seeing in my current title. It's a classic case, okay? Because at the end of the day, of all the fights that Deontay Wilder could have had as the heavyweight champion of the world, okay, there were numerous fighters out there who he could fight, okay? Who did he fight? Who did he decide to fight? He went to a guy that was 400 pounds, as they admit themselves, hadn't fought in almost 3 years, was addicted to cocaine, alcohol, tobacco, and had an eating disorder, basically, and not to mention mental health issues as well. So I mean, a whole cornucopia of ills that Tyson Fury was battling at the time. Okay, and this is the guy they picked to fight for their next fight. I mean, do you really can you understand what I'm saying to you people? Of all the people he could have fought, that's the guy he went to fight. Now, how could that fight? By all measurement, that fight should never been a competitive fight in any way, shape, or form. If you're looking looking for a competitive fight, you're not going to pick a guy suffering from all those maladies and issues. You're going to fight somebody who's in the rankings, who is, a fight that's going to be competitive. But you want to pick that guy, okay? Why? And then now, when the whole thing goes wrong and it's flipped on his head, you're going to say, oh, you was trying to do this guy a favor. What favor were you trying to do a guy like that by picking to fight him? You are supposed to be the baddest man in the land, the right hand of God. You're knocking people out left and right. And instead of picking someone who can give you a competitive fight, you went and picked a guy that was 400 pounds, overweight, sitting on the couch, mental health issues, drug issues, alcohol and tobacco issues. That's the guy you picked to fight. And then you want somehow to tell the fans out there that the reason why you did that is because you were trying to do him a favor. I mean, we really gotta get real with this whole Deontay Wilder situation, because again, at the end of the day, we saw how Deontay Wilder moved as a heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, we saw what happened in terms of when he got the title in 2015, the fight that he took after that, okay? Now, Deontay Wilder had many opportunities to unify the title. I mean, we have to remember that after Tyson Fury had lost the title, and they say he was sitting on the couch for all this time and, for 2 or 3 years, during that whole time, the belts were up for grabs. Did Deontay Wilder try to unify with any of the, try to get any of those belts? Charles Martin at the time had a title. Did he try to fight Charles Martin? Joseph Parker. So we see that it took Anthony Joshua to come along and to, go ahead and unify the titles. Why didn't Deontay Wilder unify the titles? He's supposed to be the longest reigning heavyweight. He's been champion since Klitschko was champion. Why didn't he try to unify with Klitschko? Well, we know why that didn't happen, because again, we saw that when he was asked of Deontay Wilder if he was going to unify with Klitschko, Shelly Finkel came out and said that Deontay Wilder was a baby, and that he needed a chance to get to get his feet wet. We're talking about the heavyweight champion of the world, WBC heavyweight champion. Shelly Finkel saying he needs a chance to get his feet wet. He's a baby. He's not ready for Klitschko. Okay, I'm talking about him as if he was a prospect as opposed to the heavyweight champion of the world. So this is why the fight with Klitschko never happened. Okay, because Deontay Wilder, according to Shelly Finkel, was a baby. All right. Subsequently to that, after Klitschko lost the title to Fury, and then Fury ended up getting stripped of all the belts, and the belts were just floating around out there. Did Deontay Wilder go after any of those belts? No. Okay. Joshua was the one that came along and collected all the belts under one banner, and now has those belts as we speak. Okay. So this whole idea, like I said, that Tyson Fury owes Deontay Wilder, a favor because he did Deontay Wilder a favor. I mean, he did Tyson Fury a favor when Tyson Fury was down and out. It's total poppycock. It's nonsense, bullshit, crap. Okay, because at the end of the day, all Deontay Wilder did was cherry pick Tyson Fury because he thought he was gonna get an easy win, like the rest of his easy wins, to basically, boost up his record and to give him, an advantage, when started talking about, people started talking about him fighting Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua was, was out there, doing his thing. Okay. So, I mean, he wasn't trying to do Tyson Fury any favor. He was trying to take advantage of Tyson Fury. This is what the real deal is. And people can say what they want. Okay. But, the facts speak for themselves. Okay. I don't see how you picking a guy like that to fight, your next fight, is you helping him. Okay, now if you had said, okay, listen, Tyson Fury, I see that you're out of shape, you ought to, get yourself together in about a year or so. I'll give you a shot at the title if you want a shot at the title, but you need to get yourself together, win some consequential fights. Okay, move yourself up, and then I'll give you a shot at the title. No, that's not what he did. He said he wanted, Tyson Fury came out there and fought two bums, after being on the couch, like they said, for all these years, and then straight to fight Anthony Joshua, his own father, his own dad. Tyson Fury's dad said he wasn't ready for that fight. Okay, he wasn't in any shape. He wasn't in any shape to fight Deontay Wilder after just 2 fights, after being on the bench for 3 years, still having drug issues, alcohol issues, mental health issues. He was in no shape to go ahead and fight Deontay Wilder. But we saw what happened. Everything, the tables were turned, and some will say that Tyson Fury actually won the first fight, but the official decision was a draw. Okay, and the rest is history. So this, I'm sorry, but I can't ride with this whole Deontay Wilder, the Good Samaritan narrative that they're out there spinning about him, specifically picking Tyson Fury just to do him a favor, because that's just the kind of guy he is. He wanted to do Tyson Fury a favor. How did he know Tyson Fury that well? Was him and Tyson Fury buddies? So I'm sorry, but I'm not. I can't buy that. I'm not buying it. Unless you could show me something else, I can't buy that, because the history of Deontay Wilder in picking fights was that he didn't really pick any difficult fights. He didn't try to go after the belt. He didn't try to unify the titles. He didn't do any of the heavy lifting that we saw Anthony Joshua do in collecting all those titles. All that was left to Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder did none of it. He was satisfied to have the WBC strap and just basically fought guys, with that. I mean, there's the guys that he fought. Okay, we could look at it right there. There's Bermane Stiverne. He got the title fighting him, and then after that, Eric Molina, Johan Duhaupas, Arthur Spilker, Chris Arreola, Gerald Washington, Bermane Stiverne again, Luis Ortiz. Okay, then he finally fought Tyson Fury. The first real, I mean, you could say Luis Ortiz was a good opponent, but, previous to that, he wasn't really fighting he didn't try to unify previous to that. And when he fought Tyson Fury, he wasn't trying to unify either, because Tyson Fury had no title. Tyson Fury was on the couch for almost 3 years, and abusing drugs and alcohol and tobacco. And that's the guy he picked to fight, instead of trying to fight a consequential fight, or fighting, trying to get a fight with, say, Anthony Joshua or somebody like that. And we all know that after the first fight, he still had a chance to fight Anthony Joshua, and he chose to fight Tyson Fury after that instead. And by his own admission, So, you know, nobody can say anything about, you know, that type that, you know, that the narrative out there that Joshua was trying to duck him or whatever, you know, foolishness that the people out there talking. When Deontay Wilder came out and said from his own mouth that he could have had that fight for more money than he made against Tyson Fury, but he took the Tyson Fury fight instead. You know, here you could have had $100 million fight with Anthony Joshua, but you took a fight with Tyson Fury instead. Why would you do something like that? And now people are mad because Tyson Fury has elected to fight Joshua for that money, the big money, as opposed to fighting Tyson Fury again. A guy he just beat, basically, you can argue that he beat him twice. Okay, even though, you know, one was a draw and then the other, you know, fight, the second fight we all saw was a devastating knockout, really, by Tyson Fury off Deontay Wilder. So now people are mad because he's making a decision that he wants to fight Anthony Joshua for the big money as opposed to, you know, fighting Deontay Wilder again. I mean, I don't get it. I don't see, you know, but, you know, and what reason are they using? What criteria? What reason are they using to say that this fight should happen again? He did Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder did him a favor by fighting him in the first fight. I mean, this whole idea is ridiculous, man. And these people need to stop with this nonsense. You know, they're just making themselves look ridiculous at the end of the day. Okay. The fact that you keep talking about that whole story, you know, and keep pushing that story is just making it even more obvious that Deontay Wilder was cherry picking. You know, when you keep saying, Tyson Fury was 400 pounds, he was overweight, he had mental health issues, but Deontay Wilder decided that he's going to fight him because he wanted to do him a favor. All you're doing is highlighting the fact that Deontay Wilder was cherry picking. Because why would you pick a guy like that to fight? Okay, why? When you had actual fights out there that could be made. Okay, but again, you know, we all know what happened, like I said, and you know, we saw the history, okay, and everything played out the way it played out, and now Deontay Wilder is looking at trying to rebuild, you know, after, you know, his cherry picking of Tyson Fury went horribly wrong. Okay, it didn't play out like they expected it to play out, and you know, he got the bad end of the stick. And you know, and like I said in my previous video, the funny thing is that even after that first fight where you fought a guy who was 400 pounds over, like 400 pounds, had mental issues, alcohol issues, drug issues, and the guy that you was expected to knock out, you know, summarily, ended up having getting a draw with you, you know, and that was a gift to you, because by most people's thinking, you lost that fight. Deontay Wilder lost that fight by the way most people think, but you got a draw, and now after that draw, you had a chance to fight for the undisputed title with Anthony Joshua, but yet still you went back and fought Tyson Fury again. What for? Now you mad? You're upset because Tyson Fury's not going to make the same mistake you made. He's not going to fight you again. He's going to go and fight for the big money like you were supposed to do. Okay? Deontay Wilder was supposed to go and fight Joshua for that big money, or instead of fought Tyson Fury. But Tyson Fury's not going to make that mistake. He's going to go and fight for the big money instead of fighting Deontay Wilder again. And now people are mad because he's not making that mistake. Okay? So, you know, it is what it is, man. But again, we just see that, you know, Tyson Fury is playing chess and Deontay Wilder is playing checkers. Okay, that's what it comes down to, you know. Now, guess what's happening right now? Tyson Fury is cherry picking again. Deontay Wilder is cherry picking again. Now he wants to fight Charles Martin. You know, for all the fights that's out there that could be made, he wants to fight Charles Martin. Now, what's the logic behind all that? Oh, he's making a comeback fight, and so in his comeback fight, he's gonna fight Charles Martin in a comeback fight because after the fight with Tyson Fury. So wait a minute. You're the baddest man in the land, but you have to take a comeback fight against Charles Martin, but yet still you are out there arguing that you were ready to fight Tyson Fury again right away, but you're not ready to fight Joseph Parker, you're not ready to fight Andy Ruiz, you're not ready to fight the winner of Povetkin, Dylan White, but you're ready to take you have to take a comeback fight against Charles Martin. But you're ready to fight Tyson Fury right away. You see, these arguments don't make any sense, people. Okay? There's no logic to what's being said. The narrative that these guys are pushing, they're pushing these narratives, but the narrative is not making sense. Because if you're ready to fight Tyson Fury again right away in a trilogy fight, then you should be ready to fight any of the top heavyweights out there. You shouldn't have to take a comeback fight. Okay? So we see that all this talk is just nonsense, and that, at the end of the day, after that loss to Tyson Fury, he didn't want, I don't think he really wanted to fight Tyson Fury again right away. I think he just wanted to go the route that he's going now, which is to fight somebody like a Charles Martin, an easier fight, and, basically kind of like, feel his way back in. This whole idea of him, fighting Tyson Fury again is all, all this talk about him wanting to fight. I don't believe it, okay? I don't believe it, because at the end of the day, we all found out that, the mediation was all about compensation, not a third fight, okay? So the guy, people out there spreading these narratives, about him wanting the third fight and him wanting to fight Tyson Fury. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. Can't buy it, okay? Past the sale date. Can't buy it, because none of this stuff is making any sense. You're ready to fight Tyson Fury right away. The guy who just brutally, destroyed you, but you have to take a comeback fight against Charles Martin. What are you coming back from if you're ready to fight Tyson Fury? If you're ready to fight a guy like Tyson Fury, you should be more than ready to fight a guy like Joseph Parker, a Dylan White, a Povetkin, or Andy Ruiz. You shouldn't have to take any comeback fight because you're ready to fight Tyson Fury. So somehow that doesn't really make sense to me. Okay, something is not right there. It's not gelding. You know what I mean? It's not making it doesn't seem logical the way things are going in terms of that. So I'm sorry, I can't buy it. Okay, so but anyway, that be as it may, that it is what it is, and supposedly he's going to be fighting Charles Martin, Helenius, or Kownacki. Fight, and that's where it's at right now for Deontay Wilder, and from what I'm looking at, and from what a lot of people are looking at, I doubt if he's gonna get another shot at title anytime soon. Maybe 2023 at the earliest, probably, if he's lucky, and he might not even make it up that far. Okay, in terms of the fights that he takes, but you never know. Maybe he could. I mean, you can't count him out. I'm not going to count him out. But, he's going to have to make me a believer. I'm going to have to see it to believe it. Okay? So we're going to see how everything plays out, because by all rights, the quote-unquote comeback fight for a guy who is ready to fight Tyson Fury, but he has to take a comeback fight, okay, against Charles Martin, it should be an interesting fight nonetheless. Okay? And we're going to see, how it plays out. But again, this whole idea that he did Tyson Fury a favor by fighting him the first fight, I'm afraid I can't buy it. It's a case, to me, it's just a classic case of cherry picking gone wrong. He cherry picked Tyson Fury because he thought he had an easy mark, and Tyson Fury flipped it on him. Okay, Tyson Fury you know, you have to understand Tyson Fury is a gypsy. He reeled in Deontay Wilder, you know what I mean, and hooked him. Then, you know, did his thing, and now he's, you know, the fight that Deontay Wilder was supposed to get, he got that fight now. The $100 million generational wealth fight. Okay, Tyson Fury is going to be fighting 2 of those fights. Okay, while Deontay Wilder got to sit on the sideline and work his way back up. I mean, it's a classic case of cherry picking gone wrong, man. He couldn't get any more classic than this. Okay, I mean, Deontay Wilder, you know, has been totally outfoxed by Tyson Fury, you know, at every turn. Okay, and you know, these Wilderettes out there, you know, they're mad because now that the fox is in the chicken coop and then they ate all the chickens, you know, they want the fox to give back the chickens. The fact is, those chickens are being digested. He can't give it back. It's over with. Okay, you know, Deontay Wilder just got to chalk this up to experience and, you know, to a learning experience and, you know, learn from his mistakes. You know what I mean? You know, and all the talk in the world about, you know, you doing a favor for Tyson Fury and Tyson Fury should do you a favor is not going to work with Tyson Fury, I don't think. Well, I know it's not going to work, okay? And, you know, you just make yourself look silly by keep resorting to that argument. But, I mean, it's not Deontay Wilder that's doing that. You know, it's his delusional supporters out there, people like, you know, particularly Blue Blood Sports. You know, there's more of them, but the primary one is Blue Blood Sports. You know, he's out there making this argument day in and day out. But to me, I mean, he's just doing that because he's getting super chat money, and he's not really. He does not. I don't really take him seriously at that either. Okay, it's all about the hustle. Okay, for him. And you know, he goes out there and talk. Let's talk about Deontay. Well, you know, the champion. You know, it's not over yet, and yeah, and you know, the third fight is coming, and you know, it's all about the super chat buddy. You know, because he got all these foolish fans out there who eat all that stuff up. You know what I'm saying? And you know, send him super chat money. I mean, I'm not gonna knock the hustle. You know, it is what it is, man. Okay, do your thing. Okay, but you know, don't expect people to buy all that nonsense. The people that know about boxing know better. You know, those delusional fans, those decasts might eat that stuff up, but you know, people that know a little bit more about boxing is not gonna buy all that malarkey. I'm sorry. Okay. At the end of the day, you know, Deontay Wilder got outsmarted by Tyson Fury. Now Tyson Fury is getting ready to make the big bucks. And Deontay Wilder got to work his way back up if he decides to come back in the ring. We don't even know if that's going to even happen because as far as I'm concerned, we're not hearing nothing from Deontay Wilder. So all this talk will be just rumors, okay, of him coming back to fight whoever, okay. Even the fact that he wants a third fight, that might be just another rumor with you know, I mean, Tyson Fury. Unless he come out and say it himself, even though he came out and said in his rant, when he co-signed all those accusations about Tyson Fury cheating and about, you know, Mark Breland poisoning his water in his suit and all this other stuff, you know, he came out and co-signed all of that, but still, you know, again, none of his actions after the second fight, you know, led me to believe that he actually won the third fight. Because we saw what happened. He was silent for almost a year. Rematch clause expired. Now mediation, and we're hearing that the mediation is all about compensation and about the third fight. Now they're talking about arbitration. You know, I doubt if this is going to be an arbitration. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, because if there's going to be an arbitration, why are you talking about fighting Charles Martin if you're so sure that you're going to get the third fight with Tyson Fury? You know, but they call this a backup plan or whatever. But I think it was you know, I don't think it's a backup plan. I think it was the original plan in the first place. Okay, I don't think it was a backup plan at all. I think that was the original plan. Okay, to fight somebody like a Charles. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to what you were doing before. You know, fight nobodies. Okay, I'm not to say that Charles Martin is a nobody. I don't want to, you know, say that, you know, because you know, that wouldn't be cool. But you know, it's not like Charles Martin is a world beater. Okay, I mean, you can fight, you know, more competitive fights than Charles Martin if, you know, you really so-called, you know, want to move yourself up in the rankings, okay, to get a shot at the title. Okay, I mean, there's other fights that could be made. I mean, you know, you know. So, but we'll see how it play out. You know what I mean? You know, who knows? Maybe Charles Martin might surprise us. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. And you know, we'll see how it all works out for Mr. Bomb Squad, Deontay Wilder. Okay? So again, the Charles Martin fight should be interesting. Even though, like I said, I think that, you know, Deontay Wilder could do better in terms of picking a more competitive fight. Okay? But we all know the history of Deontay Wilder when it comes to picking fights, and so it is what it is. That's probably the best we're gonna get from him right now. Okay? But again, you know, hopefully the Anthony Joshua fight will be signed and announced soon, you know, with Tyson Fury. And we could all get to see that fight and how those two fights play out. And, you know, if Deontay Wilder gets past Charles Martin, and then maybe he might fight Andy Ruiz next. And if he get past Ruiz, you know, he might have to fight the winner of the Dylan White-Povetkin fight. And then, you know, Usyk is in the mix there somewhere as well. So, you know, it's looking like a good long road, you know, hard road back to heavyweight contention for Deontay Wilder. I mean, and it's conceivable that he could knock a lot of these guys out and make his way back up there. But, you know, he's going to have to prove it, you know. He's going to have to actually take that road. Okay, he's going to have to actually travel that long road back, you know. So we'll see how it all plays out, you know. But it should be an interesting situation in the heavyweight division, okay. And I'm looking forward to seeing what everything, you know, how everything is going to play out. But yeah, you know, that's all I have for right now. You know, I think I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you subscribe to TBE Boxing, okay, and get the latest commentary and, you know, what's going on. Again, you know, I'm not buying this whole Deontay Wilder, the Good Samaritan spiel and narrative that these guys are out there pushing. Okay, we all see it for what it is. You know, it is what it is. And, you know, to say that Deontay Wilder is going around, you know, making humanitarian moves in the boxing game instead of making business moves doesn't make any sense to me. And, you know, they should really stop doing, you know, pushing that narrative, because it's not making Deontay Wilder look any better. Because if you're saying that he's going to fight a guy that's 400 pounds, that's out of weight, that's overweight, that's mentally ill, that's abusing drugs and alcohol, that's not a good look to pick a guy like that to fight. I mean, you're not trying to pick a competitive fight. You're trying to you're cherry picking. You're picking a guy at his weakest moment, okay, to fight him. And then you're trying to say you're doing him a favor. No, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. So again, you know, that's all I have for right now. Make sure you subscribe to TBE Boxing, you know, to get the latest commentary. This is TBE Boxing. That's all I have. I'm out.